The three biggest factors that are plaguing Defence Forces at the moment around space, around cybersecurity and around unmanned vehicles. And one of the big areas, of course, of growth is unmanned vehicles, both for aviation, for underwater and for surface vessels.
We do a lot of stuff best in the world and we export some of that. I know in my own firm, we've been working with Australian Defence for a long time. We're taking a lot of the skills we've learned here. Canada is doing a complete reform agenda at the moment. KPMG is partnering with them on doing that. Logistics is an area that I know we've put a lot of money into in Australia. We absolutely lead the world in defence logistics. There is no doubt about it. We were the first country in the world to get a single supply chain together in a single system. Other countries look at us and go, we wish we had that. And I'm talking about the Americans and the United Kingdom that spend a lot of money. They can't get near what we've achieved.
With regard to Australian diplomacy, well, you know, you're talking about my old stamping ground. Yes, you can always have an investment in a larger diplomatic footprint. We have one of the smallest diplomatic footprints for a country of our size and our economy of any country in the world. And I do think that over time we need to address that issue.
It's not that they lose interest, I think they lose focus. People don't realise, and certainly in the last 10 years, with so many operations going on, that becomes the priority and government's priority. At the same time, they want to try and institute large reform. You look at any big organisation around the world, that takes significant focus. And when Defence needs to do what is a significant amount of reform in a $30 billion business, as well as run operations successfully, that's a challenge. So any change they want to make in the future needs to be short, it needs to be driven from the top and implemented quickly so they can move on to other things.
Well, I think this is some serious work that needs to be done. The demographics for future Australia don't look good in trying to attract the sort of people we want to have in our military forces. And we certainly don't want a military force full of 55-year-olds. That's not the kind of force I imagine that we need. So I think, and to put this rather bluntly, it's the all-volunteer force that led it into 9 tours of duty in Afghanistan for some of our Special Forces people. That's longer than any Australian served overseas in World War I or World War II, and I frankly don't think that's a sensible approach, and I don't think it's good for the people who are involved in it, no matter what we might kid ourselves about that. So I think we do need to do some very hard thinking about our future and how we're going to employ people in things like our military forces.
The thing that came out was some of the concerns expressed about the white paper, whether it would be a conventional sided white paper or would it be far more forward-looking and innovative.
The biggest key point would be, I think, we're facing some very tough decisions about Australia's future and the role we want our defence organisation to play in it. And I think that's surrounded with a great deal of complexity, both in the strategic situation and in the domestic situation as well. So we're going to have to make some tough choices.
Highlights were we had such an eminent group of people that the thinking was so similar about the issues around defence, and I suppose what was different for me, it was enunciated. Very much of this is not talked about very often. Worried about government views and defence views on it. I think getting it out in the open is really important.